So I recently did a video called Council of Seven, I think it was called. I can't remember what it was called. I should have checked that before I started filming. But it was a VR to Natalia at Ouroboros, and if you haven't checked it out, it will be up here for you to check out if you would like to. But she did another video when I wanted to do a VR to today called Top 7 Oracle Guides. And this is very similar to the Council of Seven, but this is looking at Oracle decks and seeing them whereas your Council of Seven was like your council of your internal kingdom, these are your guides that guide you on your journeys and help you along your way. And I actually really struggled with this, so I have done mine in a slightly different way, which I will talk about in a minute, because the first two kind of fit a little bit with what is the theme of this video, and then the others all fit together but in a different way. So let me go on anyway to talk about the first deck that I would have, the first Oracle deck that I would have in my 7 Oracle guides, and that would be the Sacred Destiny Oracle. Now I got this deck in December for Yule from a friend. It was on my wish list and they just happened to pick it off the top of my wish list. It was one that I'd kind of seen floating around but I wasn't really sure about, but I liked, so I thought, well, I'll add it. And I've used it now January, all of January, most of February. It's rapidly become one of my favourites. One of the things I really love about this deck, and I've mentioned it before and I'll probably mention it again when I talk about it in other videos, is that it's just so good for giving you really simple, clear, straightforward advice. And it's deep, don't get me wrong, like as I said before in another video, simple doesn't mean shallow. They are not the same things at all. It's simple, but it has so much depth. The artwork is beautiful, the keywords are so clear, and just really, you know, tap into my intuition really strongly. So yeah, this is definitely one that I would go to as a guide for anything really, for any kind of circumstance. Next up in my Council of Seven, we have the Soulful Woman Guidance cards. Now I don't really use these as an oracle. What I do with these, which is a theme that you're going to see across the rest of my decks in a slightly different way, is I normally draw one of these maybe once a week, sometimes once a month, sometimes more than once a week if I feel the need to. But these decks have just the most beautiful affirmations. So you have like, I can't read that in my camera, it's back to front. So you have like inner wellspring. I have an inner wellspring of love that luxuriously overflows with abundance. So basically I get this deck out and I say, what affirmation do I need in my life this week or this month or today or however I'm doing it when I'm pulling the cards. I have these beautiful little crystal table name holder thingies. I don't know, that wasn't very technical at all, whatever the frick they're called, I don't know, that I like to put them in, and I leave them in there for the day or the week or the month, or you know, insert specified amount of time here. And it's just then it's something that gives me an affirmation to focus on, to work with, to incorporate into my insert random amount of time here. And yeah, so and in that way I think it definitely guides me, it definitely gives me guidance as to where I need to be putting my focus in that week or whatever. So something that I noticed when I was going through my oracle cards to do this exercise ready to film this video is that I choose a lot of my oracle cards around a specific energy that they bring into my life that I can connect with. So you have the same kind of thing with the affirmation, is that it's a specific affirmation that I can work with for a specified length of time that is being brought into my life for that length of time. And I don't know if I'm explaining this very well at all, but so I tend to do this with my oracle decks as well. So I have a lot of oracle decks that I use differently, and quite often the major thing that I do with my oracle decks is pair them with a tarot deck, and I use them for daily draws. But a lot of my oracle decks give me a type of energy to connect with, and hopefully that will make sense as I go through my decks and I show you what I mean. So the first deck that I would say is a guide in that respect is the Love Your Inner Goddess deck. And this one I would use to connect with my inner goddess, my inner divine energy. And a bit like the affirmations with all of these, I would probably pull a card, and this is one of the things I don't like about this deck, is some of the cards are vertical and some are horizontal, and it bugs me. But I would pull a card, and then I would focus on whatever the message is for that card. I would work on bringing that energy into my life, into my self, and it would be all about getting in touch with my inner divinity and my inner goddess, basically. That's how I would use this deck. And then my next two decks would be about connecting with external goddess energy and external sort of goddess archetypes. So I have one deck, the Divine Feminine Oracle, which allows me to connect with the more light side of divinity in whatever way that works, because I'm polytheistic, but I also work with archetypal divine feminine energies, which is very complicated to wrap your head around possibly. But this allows me to work with a specific aspect of the divine feminine energy in a specific way. And I find that this deck tends to be the very light side of those energies. And you know, I don't mean light and dark as positives and negatives, I just mean lighter, you know. I don't know how to explain what I mean, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Just the lighter side of things in general. So I would use this deck for that. And then for the more darker aspects of the Divine Feminine, I would use the Dark Goddess Oracle, which is another one that I really, really love. And again, it gives me an aspect of the particular name that I'm giving that goddess, but more importantly, it gives me a keyword that I'm connecting to that archetype to work with for that period of time, however long it may be. Continuing along that line of connecting with archetypal energies, I like to use the Angels and Ancestors deck for this. So again, this gives me a particular archetype that I want to connect with at a particular time, or a particular, sometimes it's even a particular part of my own self that I want to connect with, or in the things in, you know, you've got some animals in here, but I don't tend to use this so much for that. That my other deck is more for that. But you have directions in here, I think. Hang on. But you have things like the Water Guardian, so I will use this to try and connect with the element of water, and that's, if I draw that card, it's what it's telling me I need to connect with. Or you have seasons, and that tells me that I need to connect with the energy of a particular season, even if we're not in that season. I didn't do a very good job of sorting these cards out before I started recording, mainly because I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to say before I started recording. I just kind of started recording. And then you have like the moon, so this tells me that I need to connect specifically with moon energy if I draw this card. So you get the idea. It's kind of an external type of energy that I need to work with or connect with in some way, and I use the cards to tell me what type of energy it is that I need to be tapping into at that time. So I said that I don't necessarily use the Angels and Ancestors card to connect with animal energies. I tend to use the Spirit of the Animal Oracle for that, which is this one. And this one's really great because it's got all these like extra keywords and information. So this one allows me to really dig deep with the energy of the particular animal that I draw that I need to connect with at a specific time. I don't tend to use all 7 of these decks at the same time. I don't even use the 5 of all the different energies. I don't use the affirmation one all the time. It's just as and when I feel drawn to. Although I'm quite liking the idea of making it a thing in my bullet journal where I draw on a particular card from each of the decks and give myself 5 different specific energies that I need to be connecting with and working with in that month, and see how that plays out. And maybe that's something that I'll do, and maybe if you're interested, that's something that I will let you know how it goes. Oh, what a card to finish on. I love my little foxies. So yeah, maybe I will do that, and I will let you know how it pans out and how I'm finding that working. If that's something that you're interested in, do let me know in the comments below, and I will definitely consider doing that. I will also link the names and the creators of all the decks that I've mentioned in this video below, because I know that I didn't show very many of the boxes and I didn't talk about creator names and things, so if that's something that you're interested in, look in the description box below. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, lots of love everybody, and I will see you all soon.